Keir Starmer calls on Cabinet to stay united and focus on key government priorities, saying leadership discussions are taking attention away from important national issues. The situation inside Downing Street took on a new level of seriousness as Prime Minister Keir Starmer addressed his cabinet with a clear and direct message aimed at ending the internal disagreements that had begun to shape the political conversation. During the latest cabinet meeting, he firmly reminded ministers that their central mission was to serve the public and deliver the changes outlined in the government's plans, not to become absorbed in discussions about leadership or internal party matters. His remarks were timely, coming after he had publicly committed to leading Labour into the next election in an interview earlier in the week. This commitment was made in response to a wave of questions that had emerged, partly due to reported tensions involving advisers said to have briefed against Health Secretary Wes Streeting. Those reports had generated significant discussion about unity within the party, prompting the Prime Minister to step in and call for a renewed focus on government priorities. Following the meeting, the Prime Minister's official spokesman explained that Mr. Starmer opened by highlighting the government's responsibility to use its mandate effectively and deliver on its commitments to the British people. According to the spokesman, the Prime Minister stressed that internal disagreements risked shifting attention away from essential issues such as the cost of living, public service improvements, and overall national well-being. He reminded ministers that the public had high expectations and that any time spent on political distractions would only delay the progress that people were waiting to see. This emphasis on unity and discipline reflected the Prime Minister's belief that effective governance requires teamwork, steady communication, and an unwavering focus on public priorities. When asked whether the Prime Minister had apologised to his ministers for the recent loss of focus, the spokesman clarified that Mr. Starmer consistently accepts responsibility for the direction of the government but did not describe his remarks as an apology. Instead, they were portrayed as a direct call to action and effort to refocus the Cabinet's energy on meaningful work rather than speculation. The spokesman's comments suggested that the Prime Minister viewed the recent discussions not as a major crisis but as a distraction that needed to be addressed promptly to prevent further drift away from the government's agenda. The renewed focus on discipline within the Cabinet followed a recent interview in which Mr. Starmer was asked whether he intended to remain in Number 10 and lead Labour into the next general election. He responded clearly that he would, adding that every moment not spent addressing the cost of living pressures facing families across the country was a moment that could otherwise be used to improve people's lives. He stressed that the government's attention must remain on delivering practical solutions rather than reacting to speculation or external narratives. This response reflected a broader theme in his messaging, that leadership is demonstrated through action, consistency, and delivering results. He explained that the public expects steady progress, not political uncertainty, and that ministers must stay focused on real issues affecting households. By emphasizing stability and purpose, he aimed to reassure viewers and voters that the government's priorities remain firmly centered on practical outcomes and long-term improvements. Cabinet Minister Steve Reid also addressed the issue, noting that the Prime Minister responded to the question because it was directly asked by a journalist during a media interview. Reid explained that the political environment remains unpredictable, with public expectations shaped by years of economic challenges. He acknowledged that many people remain cautious about offering support without seeing real and measurable improvements in their daily lives. Reid pointed to ongoing progress in several areas, including efforts to reduce NHS waiting lists and plans aimed at easing the housing crisis. He noted that such improvements take time and that the government is committed to maintaining steady progress over the long term. Reid also responded to questions about polling data suggesting that only a portion of Labour's voters currently want Mr. Starmer to lead the party into the next election. He interpreted the data not as a sign of personal unpopularity but as a reflection of the public's broader desire for meaningful change. He emphasized that many people remain deeply affected by the cost of living pressures of recent years and are seeking real evidence that the government can deliver improvements. Reid maintained that the government's focus on economic recovery, public service repair, and long-term stability is essential and that results will become more visible as policies take effect. The broader political environment remains complex, with both the government and the public navigating multiple challenges at once. Economic conditions, social concerns, and the long-term impact of previous policy decisions contribute to a landscape that requires careful management and clear communication. The Prime Minister's appeal for unity within his cabinet reflects his understanding that internal political discussions can quickly overshadow the practical work that needs to be done. By emphasizing the importance of staying focused on the country's needs, he signaled a commitment to ensuring that government discussions remain grounded in real-world priorities. This call for unity also highlights the reality that political parties, especially those in government, often face internal pressures and competing viewpoints. Such pressures can become more visible when public expectations are high and when the responsibilities of leadership require rapid and effective decision-making. The Prime Minister's approach suggests an effort to manage these pressures through communication, direction, and reinforcement of shared goals. His message to the cabinet was not only a reminder of the challenges ahead but also a reaffirmation of the government's collective responsibility to deliver results. As the government continues to develop policies related to economic stability, healthcare improvements, housing expansion, and public service reform, the coming months will likely play an important role in shaping public confidence. The Prime Minister's insistence on reducing internal distractions demonstrates his desire to maintain momentum and ensure that the government's actions align closely with public expectations. Voters will be watching to see whether the government's commitments translate into clear improvements in their daily lives, and the emphasis on unity suggests that the Prime Minister views teamwork as essential to achieving those outcomes. The discussion around leadership and party unity is part of a broader conversation about political trust and accountability. The Prime Minister's decision to address these issues directly within his cabinet reflects a recognition that transparency, clarity, and consistent communication are important to maintaining public confidence. By focusing on practical responsibilities and measurable progress, he aims to steer attention toward the work needed to deliver meaningful change. He understands that the public carefully watches how leaders respond during moments of uncertainty, and that demonstrating calm decision-making can strengthen confidence in government. This approach also signals a commitment to stability, showing that effective governance relies on cooperation, honesty, and a dedication to serving the country's long-term interests. The overall significance of these developments lies not only in the internal dynamics of the Labour Party but also in what they represent about the current political moment. With economic pressures continuing to affect households and public services still recovering from years of strain, the government faces the task of delivering improvements while managing internal expectations and external scrutiny. The Prime Minister's call for unity serves as a reminder that effective governance requires stability, cooperation, and a commitment to keeping the public interest at the heart of decision-making. The path ahead will demand consistent effort, and the government's ability to remain focused will play a key role in shaping how voters assess its performance as the next election approaches. What are your thoughts on these developments? Let us know in the comments. To stay updated on the latest developments, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next update.